Hey, welcome everyone. We're going to try something out new today. We're going to put our editorial meeting on video for everyone to see how the sausage is made here behind the scenes. I'm Kevin Nix. We're here with the team. Just real quick, introduce ourselves.
I'm Sarah Thursby.
I'm Efra.
Kier.
Joe Bowen.
Kaylee.
And Jose's over here in the back, behind the camera. So let's just do a quick fire around here. Sarah, what are we thinking about doing this week?
So I'm getting things ready for the podcast tomorrow. Also, the transcript for the interview with Manpreet Kaur Singh will be going up soon today. And also, I wanted to perhaps do a story on climate change. It's clearly a big issue. And considering that Texas is the leading oil and gas state in the country, I'm interested in seeing how climate change will play in with that.
Yeah, we'll see that again too I think during the presidential debates we'll get to in a minute that are Wednesday and Thursday. Sounds great. Joe, polling. We've been talking a lot about polls around here and writing a lot about them, but how seriously should folks take polls at this point? Or should they be national or state, or just ignore them almost altogether now? What's your take?
It's an excellent question. The platitude everyone uses is that polls are just a snapshot in time, so they're a good way to take a look at what's happening in the last few days or the last week. But in terms of who's going to win the nomination, these polls have very little to do with who's actually going to be successful. Wednesday and Thursday will be the first chance for us to see these candidates on stage at a debate for the first time together. I imagine a lot of the folks who are kind of hovering in the low single digits will start to fall off the map, and the race will start to crystallize from there. So the polls are helpful in knowing how things are going real time in the moment, but in terms of trying to identify who's going to win the Iowa caucus or the New Hampshire primary, we really don't know, and it'll take some time for that to really crystallize.
Big news this morning, Kier. Sticky decided he's not seeking re-election.
Yes, one of our favorite state legislators from suburban Tarrant County. Just weeks after passing his first bill in 4 terms in the legislature, announced he will not be seeking another term as a member of the Texas House. Interestingly, his district was far more competitive last time in 2018 than I think people expected. He won by just a few points over an underfunded opponent, so maybe he's seeing the handwriting on the wall.
That's probably a good thing for Texas, I would think. And then of course the debate. So we've been planning our debate coverage. We will do live shows after the debates around 10 p.m. Central Time on both Wednesday and Thursday. Anybody have thoughts on what the candidates? By the way, the Texans are both Beto and Castro are on Wednesday night. What do particularly those candidates need to do to sort of quote unquote win or do well in the debate? And then also, what are your take on Thursday?
I'm interested to hear what a candidate like Julian Castro has to say in the debate, particularly in the context of what's going on with these child detention centers at the border. He was the first of the Democratic candidates several months ago to come out with a comprehensive immigration plan that included dividing ISIS functions, some with Homeland Security, and then splitting the others off. I think that subject matter is going to be a lot more resonant now because of what's going on in the news and with Trump in that regard. And for all these candidates, it's like people are trying to break out from the pack,
Yeah, and they're going to have maybe 6 or 7 opportunities to do that. It's a 2-hour debate with 10 candidates, so they're not going to get very many opportunities. I think one thing I'll be looking for is how much conflict exists between candidates. Does Elizabeth Warren take a couple shots at Beto, who has the opportunity to take some support away from Biden? Does Beto try to bring Biden down a little bit? Do any of the candidates attack Biden? And the other thing that I think we're going to take a look at is how many times Donald Trump comes up in this debate and how big of a shadow he really casts over this discussion, and also how much tweeting he does during the debate and if that has an impact on the performances of the night too.
I'm gonna be especially vigilant for how the media covers Trump's meddling, his interference in the Democratic primary debate. It just gets in my crawl. So we'll take a look at that. But back to immigration, I know Fred, that's a big issue with you.
Yeah, I think, well, today I was reading the New Yorker post about the interview between the attorneys that went there on Thursday, I think. And I think no matter what party you're for, I think it's sad and it's horrible to read about it, especially because I don't understand how it's going on and how it's, obviously I don't think it's legal, but how it's even allowed and how people are just letting it happen and just kind of overlooking it, and it's how it's still happening.
You're talking about the migrant kids in these facilities,
in these
mostly
facilities,
in Texas.
Yeah, and I think it was like Clint, Texas.
That
I think it
sounds
said, and a lot of them like didn't have places to sleep in. Like I'm sure y'all have read it, so it was sad, and I don't know how it's going on. It's appalling to read about, I think.
Well, and Trump postponed, as we reported over the weekend, his roundup and deportation of undocumented immigrants. Houston was one of the cities where the raids were going to take place over the weekend. We'll see how that plays out over the next 2 weeks. But also, I think I would be shocked if it came up during the debate.
I think it's interesting too that postponement is now causing him grief from his base. Right, he was getting widely criticized by Democrats, folks in the media, and just generally by the public for what's going on with regard to these children. But now deciding that he's not going to do these ICE raids in the short term is getting blowback from the right. So he's really sort of squeezed from both directions right now.
Real quick, Fernando, his car got flooded, so he's off dealing with that. But I know he's working on a couple of things. One is something related to immigration, sort of how Democrats are handling that issue politically. I think there's two sides to that school of thought, at least within Texas. The other one is he's looking at women running for Congress in Texas over this cycle, and I think he spoke to Kim Olson over the weekend. So I heard that's a pretty lively interview, and we'll bring it to you later this week. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.